are ready for this.
A year ago, it was all about survival in the second division for Leicester City. Now, a born-again club is on charge towards the riches of the Premier League.
The shot, Russell! It's 3, and it's Wembley now, surely!
It's Kenny Dalglish's Blackburn against Brian Little's Leicester at Wembley for the final promotion place. It's a contest between managers who could both play a bit.
Good head, Caritas, Burns, losing it to Little. There it is, 2-1. Brian Little's first goal of the season.
Dalglish has made space for himself. And tried to curl it, and does!
Dalglish has spent £5.5 million on a promotion gamble. Little arrives at Wembley with £1 million profit on the season. Which way is best? We'll find out on Central Sports Special, live from Wembley. And good afternoon. Welcome to exclusive coverage of the showpiece climax of the football season. There's just one issue undecided. To Leicester City and Blackburn Rovers, well, it's more important, isn't it, than any cup final? Because at Wembley today, it's Premier League status at least £3 million in income for the winners of the second division playoff final. Talking of Wembley winners, no one typified the ecstasy of victory more than a certain Midlands manager. If you've won it, you flaunt it. That was John Sillett's way of celebrating FA Cup triumph with Coventry City. And this afternoon, John joins us to give us expert comment on a game which means so much to the contestants. John, judging by your face then, it was like it was yesterday when you were there winning that cup.
Wonderful memories, wonderful moments, and as you say, every time it comes up I just get that lump in my throat and I want to get back there and do that sort of thing again, but I don't know whether time's just passing me by a little bit, Bob. I'm a little bit worried about this.
Just over 10 minutes to kick off, there must be great tension.
The dressing rooms are boiling hot, I'll tell you that now. There's no cool place other than a cold plunge in the bath. You've got people buzzing all around the place, which is unusual to your home dressing room, and you just look at the players, they'll be all tense, and I think there'll just be a little bit more tension possibly in the Leicester dressing room than the Blackburn dressing room.
Well, two potential match winners. Inevitably we go for a goal scorer in both occasions. Kevin Russell at Leicester City. Let's have a look at him and tell me what it is about him that you admire so much.
Well, Kevin's the type of player, to me, that's always sniffing goals. He's always round about that 6-yard box. He's good on his right side and his left side, either footed, and he's always following things up. If other players are having a shot, he's the one getting on the end of it, and most of all, he's very brave. Here he could have turned his back so easily, but he didn't, and he goes and slides the ball into the net and celebrates. He's a great celebrator of goals like the all there.
Of course,
I think he's got my hairstyle.
Yeah, that in fact, of course, was against Blackburn. You could have signed him for Hereford, I believe, this year.
Yes, he came on a month's loan, but we didn't have the money at Hereford to pay. They wanted 60,000 at the time. I would have loved him to have come with us.
Just after you won the FA Cup with Coventry, you did have money to spend. You spent it on David Speedy. Let's look at him.
Great character. Different type of player, a touch player, always making good positions, good first touch, and not a great striker of the ball in the box, but is always placing his shot, bending his shot. He loves to chip a goalkeeper. His ambition was to play against Oggy and chip him, which he did in my testimonial match. But a real strong character, a player that maybe just could get upset on the odd occasion if you don't control him right.
Those two goals, of course, were in the playoff semi-final against Derby County, which I suppose augurs well for him. There's going to be 37,000 from each side. There's going to be some atmosphere. I mean, it's a beautiful day down there as well.
It's going to be electric little atmosphere there. I would love to be able to tell you now that the certain winners are going to be Blackburn, Leicester. I can't really. I'm still sitting here thinking, you've invited me in, but I would like to go with Leicester because they're the local team. But I've got to edge, I think, my money onto Blackburn.
Well, what a day it's been for Brian Little. What a season, I should say. He took Darlington back into the Football League to promotion. He's done it with Leicester City. He's on the verge of the Premier League. A few minutes ago, he was talking at Wembley with Gary Newborn.
You've had a tremendous time as a manager, but this is incredible, isn't it? A place in the Premier League hanging on this one match at Wembley.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the score before the start of this season, and it's a tremendous occasion. I suppose looking at the crowd today, there's going to be split right down the middle with either broken hearts or really happy people, and it seems a shame to go to one game, but that's the way it is, and you know, we've settled for that before the season starts, so we'll give it a good go today.
Quite a few of your players have had experience of Wembley with other teams, I think.
Yeah, bits and bobs. We've had one or two in like third and fourth division cup competitions, so they know what it's about. But we've had a lot of big games this season, and we would like to think that the way we've played this season would help us today. But it is something special. We are aware of that. We'll just do our best, see what we can do. Difficult game for us, but we'll go out there, and I'm quite sure we'll do Leicester City proud today.
Can he really be as cool as he looks, John?
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so, unless he's a teetotaler. If he's a teetotaler, he'd be all right. But I can't see him really being that cool inside.
They're two interesting managers, aren't they? Brian among the younger breed. Kenny Dalglish did it all with Liverpool, stepped into retirement and came back. They're both very low-key. I mean, they're the complete opposite to someone like yourself.
I don't think there's going to be many smiles on the bench today, are there? But at the same time, they're both very good at their job. You know, Kenny Dalglish, superb. Now, whether Kenny has still got that same feeling and passion, I would say this will bring the best out of Kenny today. Now, with Brian, I know he's ambitious. I know he's a young manager who's going to take big strides in the game. And I can see him putting Leicester spot on.
You've been known to tip the odd horse or two. Some of them have even won in your time, John. If you were going to tip a team this afternoon, who would it be?
Well, my horse runs at Leicester today. I can't see Leicester having two winners, because my horse will win at Leicester, and I think Blackburn may just have a bit too much experience for Leicester.
Well, that's an interesting thought. I'll remind you of that probably a little later. I wonder if we can perhaps just go to Wembley and have a look at how the scene is evolving. We're some, 7.5 minutes away from kick-off, and as befits a bank holiday Monday, it is bathed in sunshine, and we saw a few seconds ago there those great red squares on the ground where, in fact, I understand the parachutists who've been coming in for these playoff games. And, well, I don't know, I've been talking about a vantage point. You would never get me up there. I don't know about you, John. I have no head for heights like that. No. I should think he's on his way down under the instruction of gentlemen in blue uniforms with silver buttons and pointed hats at the moment. But there seems to be a good atmosphere there. I mean, they're all going to get a suntan as well. It's nice. I mean, the one thing for all the criticism that some people have of playoffs, it engenders a long run to a season and a lot of good spirit and a good feeling.
Yes, I'm not in favour of them, to be truthful, because I feel to be involved it must go on and on and on. The season must really drag, and for the players. But having said that, when you see today, you think, well, come on, would you like to be involved? I'd love to be there today involved in it. So therefore, there's two ways of looking at it. If you're involved, yes. If you've been knocked out, I would think, what have they wasted their time for waiting for these games?
Just a final thought from you, John. Portsmouth in the Cup, Scunthorpe yesterday. What about these penalties at the end of games?
No way to finish a game in my book. No way at all. They should have a replay.
Right, well, we're going to settle back here. I say we're about 6 minutes from kick-off at Wembley Stadium. I understand that the teams are making their way out, or at least they're down the tunnel and getting a sniff of that atmosphere. So let's go down to Wembley Stadium, where we bid a very good afternoon, not only to Jimmy Greaves, but also to your match commentator, who's Alan Parry.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome to Wembley on this glorious day for what's been called the biggest occasion in Leicester City's history. Perfect timing as the match officials lead out the teams of Blackburn Rovers, all in yellow, and Leicester City in their traditional blue and white. There's been a tremendous atmosphere for 2 hours, really, up to kick-off here. And the prize at stake today, a place in the new Premier League, and the financial windfall that goes with it. And that Wembley is the setting for this critical match is another bonus. Leicester's first visit to the most famous football stadium in the world since the days of Shilton, Rodriguez and Nish, Cross, Gibson and Lockhead, the team of 1969, many of whom I'm sure will be watching at this moment. And who knows, many of these present Leicester players could be talked of as legends 23 years from now if Leicester are successful here today. No team in Leicester's history, remember, has ever won at Wembley. The players will need nerves of steel to survive the tension of this occasion, and they'll certainly need all their reserves of fitness in this draining heat and humidity, the temperature estimated at well over 80 degrees down there at pitch level. For Kenny Dalglish, of course, it's familiar territory. For the players and management of Leicester City, not quite so familiar. Brian Little, appointed by Leicester just a year ago next week, was managing in the Vauxhall Conference only 3 seasons ago. He's been here as a player with Aston Villa, but could never have dreamed of reaching Wembley so soon in his managerial career. And of course, it's not just a great day here for the players, the whole town behind Leicester today. More than 37,000 tickets have been sold, and a lot of these supporters I know have been down in London all weekend. They'll go back with empty pockets, but if Leicester win, they really won't mind. And the Leicester team, first to be introduced to the dignitaries here today. The chief guest is Mr. Mike Pitcher, Deputy Managing Director of the banking division of Barclays Bank, who of course sponsor the Football League. You can see in the picture there Mr. Arthur Sanford, Chief Executive of the Football League, and also being presented to the teams is Mr. Gordon McKeague, President of the Football League. These normal Wembley preliminaries will be followed by the national anthem, and then of course a great roar from the massed crowd here. Leicester, as I say, sold 37,000 tickets, not quite so many sold in the town of Blackburn, about 31,000 I understand, but nonetheless, if you pack in a few neutrals as well, it's as good as a full house. Well, Jimmy Greaves, you've sampled the tension of a Wembley occasion. How will these players be feeling at the moment?
Well, they'll just be wanting to get on with the game, Al. It's all very nice, this lining up and meeting dignitaries and hanging about there and having a good look around the stadium, but really the idea is to come out here and have a game of football. That's what they'll be looking for at this moment. Get it all over and done with, get the kickabout going, and then get into the match. That's primarily on their mind at the moment. This, to be perfectly honest, is something a player could well do without.
The heat has got to be a factor today.
Well, it's lovely and warm up here, isn't it, mate? We're not complaining. I've played at Wembley many times in this heat. I've always found it not a problem. But having said that, I don't think that players should find it a problem, really. They're fit. I know they've had a long season, but if all goes well for all of them, they shouldn't really labour in this heat. The adrenaline's pumping. The crowd should keep them both going. And I think if there is a fitness factor involved, I think it will probably favour Leicester, because to me they are the stronger side of the two. One could argue about Blackburn's skill factor being a little bit stronger than Leicester's, but I think if it goes to the 90 minutes at a rare old pace, we might find Leicester that little bit stronger.
Well, no matter how many times you hear the national anthem played on these big Wembley occasions, it never fails to stir the memory of some of the great matches that we've seen here down the years. And there have been few more important than this. The Football League themselves have said that the prize at stake is one of the biggest ever, a place in the new Premier League. But it's time to have a look at the teams, beginning only because alphabetically that's the way the Football League want to begin, and they will appear on the electronic scoreboard accordingly, beginning with Blackburn Rovers. And this really, I suppose you could say from Blackburn's point of view, is the team that Jack built. Some £5.5 million of Jack Walker's money has been invested by Kenny Dalglish in a side which at one stage of the season looked certainties for the second division championship. They led the table for over 3 months, but a run of 6 consecutive defeats saw them gratefully clinging on to that final place in the playoffs. The main danger to Leicester will surely come from that striking partnership of Newell and Speedy. Leicester, well, Brian Little has stood by the players and the system which got Leicester through in those 2 tough matches against Cambridge, Remember, like Blackburn, Leicester were hopeful of automatic promotion after they won 5 successive games in April, but then defeat in their last 2 league games sentenced them to the playoffs. Still, it's incredible to think that on the final day of last season, Leicester might well have been relegated to the 3rd division. David Speedy, one of the main threats to Leicester, with 26 goals. He's enjoying his best ever season, and with Mike Newell, as I was saying, forms that little and large partnership in Blackburn Rovers' attack. The fans' favourite, Kevin Rooster Russell, whose goals in vital games did so much to get Leicester here to Wembley. He almost went to Stoke City earlier in the season, and in fact he still hasn't signed a new contract for next season. Blackburn's captain, Kevin Moran, desperate to erase the memories of the day he made history here as the first player ever sent off in an FA Cup final. That was playing for Manchester United against Everton in 1985. Tommy Wright, also having his most productive season in front of goal for Leicester. He scored 19, and that despite playing wide on the left in most games. If he turns it on the way he did against Cambridge, then Blackburn will know about it. George Courtney from Durham, the referee. He's 50 now and retires after today, following 21 years on the Football League list. So all the talking is over, and it's now down to at least 90 minutes of football. Remember, that final place in the Premier League has to be settled today as Leicester City get the game underway, attacking from left to right. If they can't be separated after 90 minutes, then we will face extra time and then, if needed, penalty kicks. Bobby Mims, the former Everton and Tottenham goalkeeper, he's missed only 1 game between the sticks for Blackburn this season. Newell and Walsh with their first little collision, and the referee has found in favour of Leicester on that one. Free kick for a foul by Newell on Walsh, the Leicester captain, who scored in a 3-0 home win against Blackburn in September. Indeed, Leicester won both the league matches, also winning at Ewood Park by 1-0 in April. Muggleton's kick was aimed for Walsh. Moran got it away. Thompson doing well eventually, and trod on the ball. And James turning it for Mills to attack down the Leicester right, but that's a throw into Blackburn Rovers. Harry Mills, recently voted Player of the Year for Leicester, and describing this as the greatest moment of his career playing here today, even though, of course, he's even played in a European Cup final for Nottingham Forest. Well won by Colin Hill, and Henry turning it back into the Leicester half. Of that fantastic achievement of taking teams from the Vauxhall Conference to the Premier League in just 3 seasons. Good ball by Mills. Walsh. Forward for Ormond Royd, who inevitably won it, but cleaned up nicely by Alan Wright, the young Blackburn left back.
Nothing much happening at the moment. Both sides just feeling the ground, feeling themselves, feeling the opposition out. Nothing really untoward going forward at the moment.
Walsh in strong on Speedy, and then a collision. The referees let it go as Mark Atkins came in and 1 or 2 strong tackles. Eventually the ball breaking to Sellers, and he got it wrong. And good work by Walsh, who covered a lot of ground to get back and intercept. Scott Sellers a real danger, and keen to win today for more than the usual reasons. He's been on the losing side for Blackburn in 3 different playoffs over the years. Henry headed it away. Rooster Russell came in strongly behind him. Now Mills. That's a good-looking ball for Wright. First time in towards Ormond Royd and Russell both going for the ball. Good goalkeeping by Mims. Did really well then to take charge of that situation, Bobby Mims. And Ormond Royd injured as the goalkeeper climbed over him.
I think he just came down and winded himself a bit, but he'll be okay.
Speedy gets himself in trouble. Thompson takes the ball off him. Russell. Mills wanted it played onto the right flank and eventually gets it. It's a good run by Mills. Wright finding Russell. Two in the middle if he can make the cross. And he didn't do so in enough time. Thought he might have won the corner at first, but the linesman said no.
It looks like a rooster. The old sun's got his top, hasn't it? He's got a bit of sun as old rooster there.
Good header by Newell. Mills gets it back into the Blackburn half. May's clearance. Just kept in, is it, by Whitlow? Yes, he did. And May had to retrieve it. Otherwise it would have been a problem for Blackburn. Out on the right, David May, the 21-year-old, normally a central defender. They've used 5 different players at right back this season, Blackburn. Kevin Moran. Strange ball by him. One of the most experienced men on the park. 36 now, Kevin Moran.
Omen Royd did well there. He closed him down very quickly. Forced that on.
Good deep kick by Muggleton. Ormonroyd won it. It comes to Russell. That was a good tackle by Wright. Grayson eventually gives it away. Price coming forward. And Blackburn win the throw. Good challenge by Steve Walsh.
Well, so far it's certainly been Leicester, if anybody, has been taking the game to Blackburn. And very little happening, except that it looks as though Leicester are prepared to take the game forward.
Cowan's turning a good ball to Speedy. Now Wright. Sellers. Cowan's again. Price. And the former Villa man with a good aggressive run forward, which earns Blackburn a free kick, and that could be dangerous, because Scott Sellers can be very tricky in situations like this, and indeed scored against Derby County from a not dissimilar position in the playoff semi-final. Watch for him, the Blackburn number 11. I'm sure Carl Muggleton will be well aware of it. They've got 1 or 2 other options as well, of course. Looks like Atkins is going to take it, in fact, and he does. Oh, and that was a difficult one for Muggleton, who was relieved just to force the ball round. A well-struck shot by Mark Atkins. And the first corner of the game then to Blackburn Rovers. 7 minutes gone. Very deep to Newell, flicked on then by Moran. And Leicester play their way out of danger. Mills didn't really have anywhere to go, and finally Thompson arrived to help him out, and that's a superb ball. Whitlow. Cowan's denying him room, and in the end Cowans did well, because Blackburn get the throw. And a League Championship medal and a European Cup winners medal in his Aston Villa days, of course, and his experience vital to Blackburn today. And that's a great ball by Speedy. And young Alan Wright galloping down this left touchline. Looking for Newell with the first-time cross. And Newell winning it. No, in fact, the referee decides that went off the Leicester man Walsh. He's given the corner. Newell must have headed it against him. Colin Hendry coming forward. Scored a winner at Wembley once, in the full Members' Cup final when he played for Manchester City. It's a very flat sort of kick. Although it gained height at the end, and Leicester were quite happy to concede the throw. Really driven in that corner. Sellers finding Newell. Good ball. Sellers again. And he still managed to get in a dangerous cross. He really has got a left foot that could open a tin can. Kenny Dalglish, as I was saying, so familiar to him, this territory. He knows Wembley, I think, better than he knows Blackburn. In his Liverpool days, he came here 23 times as a player or a manager, Kenny. Royd wins the header. Price got himself in a bit of trouble. Helped out by Hendry in the end. Hill with a rather awkward clearance. Wicklow playing it forward. That's offside, surely. Tell me right? And indeed it is. Jimmy?
Well, the game's not really settled down into any sort of pattern at all, really. It's there's Brian Little there. He must be quite happy. I mean, nothing's really happened. Blackburn had a good shot, I think, by virtue of the fact that the referee gave a free kick, which wasn't. But nothing's really happened, and a couple of players are looking a bit smart, but at the moment it's even Steven.
10 minutes gone. Blackburn Rovers 0, Leicester City 0 in this playoff for the place in the Premier League that remains. Roy waiting for his goalkeeper to deliver another deep kick. He duly obliges, but it went over the head of Roy, who then collided with Wright, his own player. Walsh put a bit of meat on that back pass, but Muggleton read it well. Good clearance by Hendry, and helped on. Cowans again. Good football. David May. Newell's up there. James beats him to it, but it comes back to Atkins, and the shot charged down. Good player, actually, Mark Atkins. Looked very effective in the matches against Derby County. Makes good runs from midfield, and if you don't pick him up, then he can cause you a lot of problems. Royd loses out to Price. And Walsh strong again at the back.
Yeah, I think that's, well, it's not the problem. It's the key to the situation at the moment, that both defences look very solid indeed, and it doesn't look that either forward line is capable of penetrating them.
Moran's clearance, he was a bit fortunate it came back to him. Right. And James took a bit too much time to make up his mind then, and with Speedy breathing down your neck, you haven't really got that kind of time. Probably the most aggressive little forward in the game, and there's nothing he loves more than mixing it with big defenders like Tony James. Hills. Grayson turns it back, and then Hill with a long ball forward. Russell chasing, and he's got in behind the fullback here and wins the corner. Good work then by Kevin Russell.
Yeah, it was a good run by old Rooster there. He latched onto it and won a corner out of nothing.
Leicester's first corner of the game, and coming up for it will be Tony James, who's such a danger on these occasions. Hasn't scored since the goal against Oxford on the last day of last season, which prevented relegation.
Let's hope he's a bit better danger than that than Al. It's taken him a year.
Oh, it was just touched away from him by his own player, Walsh, in fact.
Was.
Grayson. Mills. James is still up there and wins the header. And in fairness to his scoring record, of course, Jimmy, he did miss a lot of the season because of that badly broken leg.
Yeah, he did actually. He is a good player, Alan. I will not fall out with you on that one, Al boy.
Here's Newell. Oh, he's done well and was fouled by Walsh. He turned the Leicester captain then, who felt he had no option other than to bring him down. The free kick's been taken already, and Sellers is making a dangerous run, but not a very dangerous shot at the end of it.
No, it's as I say, there's some runs at defenders, and there's a little bit of effort going into it from the forwards' point of view, but no one's really taken a defender on yet and got past one and put themselves in a dangerous situation. Scott Sellers here, you see, it wasn't really, it was a run and a half-hearted shot. I don't think they're gonna have to look for a bit more than that.
Good work by Blackburn then. Sellers a bit lucky to survive that challenge from Mills, but he's making the most of it. And James doing well for Leicester.
You see a good run by Sellers there, but he needs to be doing that in the last third of the field, not in his own half, bringing it into the opponent's half. It's got to be done in the last third.
Leicester City lost their place in the First Division 5 years ago. And during the past 20 years, they've spent 12 seasons in the first and 8 in the second. But I think a place in the Premier League, as it's going to be called, of course, from now on in, is more important to them now than at any other time in that 20-year spell, because with that place comes undoubted riches from television and sponsors and so on, and the status of being first in the new league. That's what this long haul of a season has been all about. The injury here, which is going to cause some concern to Leicester, and they're a bit worried that Blackburn are keeping the ball in play. It's still in play, and in fact, in the end, now the referee has whistled.
Speedy's gone to sort George out now because he doesn't believe that George should have actually blown up, and dear old David Speedy went rushing over. But I do feel that it was an injury that was well worth it. It was an elbow, not intentional, but one has to say that George made the right move there. Good shout by the referee.
There's Jack Walker, who's even got a few bob more than you, I think, Jim.
Well, if I was, let's see, what's he worth?
38 million, I
Well, if I was 39 million behind him, I'd be happy.
Tommy Wright's fit to continue. And the referee's going to restart with a drop ball, seems fair enough to me.
Yeah, it was a bit of a pity because Blackburn were on the attack, but it was a fair decision.
Cowans. Going anywhere, and Leicester will be quite happy if they keep knocking it around in their own half, Blackburn. Here's a man who knows only one way, and that's to go forward, and that's an excellent ball for Newell. Good work though by Whitlow, and it almost broke. Price coming in dangerously, splitting the defenders. Here's Russell for Leicester. Unlucky then. Even the wide acres of Wembley are not wide enough sometimes.
No, it was a good ball forward, but obviously not good enough.
Speedy just feeling a crack over the ear. I've no doubt he's administered one or two of those himself to other people over the years.
I would think so.
There's David May. Great running again by Atkins, who does keep getting forward into those positions. Hill shadowing him out to the right. And the linesman couldn't have been much closer, could he? Leicester's throw. He's been on the losing side. Atkins, that was, for Blackburn in a couple of playoffs. And Hill still on loan, remember, to Leicester from Sheffield United.
Good player as well to be on loan.
Newell for Blackburn. Well, that was good intelligent play, because Leicester couldn't afford to go back then, and Wright came in with a storming tackle. Excellent little player, Alan Wright. Kenny Dalglish's first signing, £500,000 from Blackpool.
It was one of those that fullbacks love, because it was 95% his, really, and he was just hoping that the winger was going to get there at the same time, but it was always going to be his.
Speedy. Henry. Atkins and May. Nice football. Well, that wasn't a good ball. Easy interception for Hill. He tries to set Russell clear down the middle. And again, it's little Alan Wright to Blackburn's rescue. Sellers. A real up and under industrial clearance by Walsh. And the match proving so far every bit as closely contested as we imagined it would. Newell for Blackburn Rovers. James gets it away, and that was a little bit dangerous. Hill, in the end, finding Whitlow in a bit of space on the left, but he can't go forward and he can't go back. So he went sideways, and that was very sensible. Russell. Mills. Clumsy ball by Gary Mills. Speedy with a little layoff. Not what he intended. Hill. And that wasn't what he intended either. But Thompson keeps possession and finds Mills for Leicester. Chips it forward, looking for Wright coming flying in on that left-hand side, but May just did enough to make sure the ball didn't reach him.
Well, that's the situation, that's the problem, really, that there isn't a forward on the field at the moment that seems to be in any way troubling the defenders. They seem to have it sewn up, they've got it their own way. Unless somebody starts to do something, although it's close, there really hasn't been a chance yet.
Sellers for Blackburn. Skips round the first challenge from Thompson, and then overplays the intended through ball for Newell.
Hey, we've had one shot at goal, Al, and that was a free kick. So really, neither side has created much, are they?
And the two divisional playoffs which preceded this proved to be equally tight. Fourth Division 1 going all the way to penalties, of course, and the third Division 1 yesterday producing a last gasp winner. Spectacular clearance by Hill, very athletic. Thompson finding Russell, who gives it away to Atkins. Now Sellers, and Sellers is a kind of slightly aggravating mixture of very skillful player, but a bit wasteful on occasions, and he certainly was then.
It's a bit ambitious.
Price going in strong, the former Villa man, preferred today to Lee Richardson on the right of Blackburn's midfield. Their first choice in that position, Jason Wilcox, is injured. And Price happy to let that one go out. In fact, I think Mr. Courtney has given a free kick to Blackburn. There's the backroom team for Leicester. John Gregory nearest to the camera, or rather in the middle, I should say. Alan Evans nearest to the camera, and Brian Little. Steve Hunt, another vital man in their backroom team as well. And They've done so much to take a team that might have gone down into the third division to the brink of a place in the Premier League. Used a lot of players this season, Leicester, 30 in all. Russell gives it away. And then fouled Speedy, who was coming across into the space that he left behind. Speedy seems to be making a lot of that. But I've no doubt that Russell did foul him.
I don't think there was any argument here. I think they're out to get Mr. Speedy. They're going to say to Mr. Speedy this afternoon, Leicester, you know that you're going to be in a game.
I think the problem was not so much Russell, but big Tony James got his knee in his posterior.
Well, it was a cannon, wasn't it, really? It knocked him on to the other player. But he's all right.
He just wanted a drink, really. Don't blame him. It's swelteringly hot here at Wembley today. I'm sure it is throughout most of the country, but down there on the pitch, it's even hotter. This stadium traps the heat. Roy Wegley, you should be used to the heat, having been born in South Africa.
Oh, it traps the heat, but you know, let's not forget, Al, that they're a bit like you and I. They're fit, young, individual men, and they should be able to play 90 minutes of football.
They might have to play 2 hours.
Well, that's their fault.
Free kick. Cowans will take it. Danger for Leicester. Not from that free kick, though. It wasn't a very good one. Shade over 20 minutes remaining to half-time, and it's still 0-0 here, and that's an excellent ball. Price, Newell, back to Price. I'm not quite sure whether he intended that as a cross or a shot, or got himself mixed up between the two choices.
Well, that was the best bit of football of the game so far. It was a good long ball across the field, and a good 1-2 played, and Price didn't quite execute the... here you can see a good 1-2 played with Newell, and it didn't quite execute the cross as he should have done, but that's the best bit of football we've seen.
Blackburn, incidentally, have spent the last 12 years in the second division, and they haven't been in the first division since England won the World Cup on this very pitch 26 years ago. Scott Sellers, a constant threat down Blackburn's left today, but as yet he hasn't really managed anything on the end of the searching runs he's been making. Here he is again, though, and now Cowans. And Leicester just pressurised Blackburn into playing the ball back. So once again, Sellers couldn't really shackle free of his markers. Dalglish firing out his instructions to his players.
Well, I can understand that. There was a lot of hope in that ball and very little else.
Another deep kick from Muggleton. Hendry going up well. Russell. And Russell closed down right. Thompson, right. The other right, that is. Leicester's Tommy Wright. James. Mills. And the interception by Atkins. Speedy. Couldn't control it quickly enough. Hill. Wright chasing now. Was he being held back by his namesake? He certainly was. A classic case of two rights making a wrong there, I think you'd say.
Good ball played through here, and actually it was a 50-50 ball. It was a tussle all the way by both of them. In the end, it was a definite foul on Wright. You couldn't argue with the referee's decision. Before that, it was 6 of 1, half a dozen. Here comes our man again. He's coming up.
Leicester's free kick then. Look how many bodies they've got inside the penalty area as Thompson swings it in dangerously. Well, there was a spot of pushing then. I think possibly Ormonroyd or James with a culprit. It was Ormonroyd,
Yeah, I think Ormonroyd rose above everybody by about 3 feet there with the help of somebody else's shoulders. You see the cross comes in and you'll watch Ormonroyd, he gets up above him. Well, it actually wasn't as bad as it first looked.
Allen's finding Sellers only just. Moran. Right. Alan Wright. That's a good ball, is it? No. Offside. Didn't make it a bad ball, but Speedy failed to beat the offside trap and then has a go at the young fullback. He doesn't just reserve his aggression for his opponents.
Well, he's right, because although he was offside, he made a good break there, and had it been an accurate ball, he would have certainly latched onto it. So it was a bad ball. Speedy's every right to have a go.
Hill's free kick, looking for Ormonroyd and finding him. Henry gets it away. Grayson going in strongly, but Sellers comes out with the ball for Blackburn. Newell played it in just a shade behind Price, who did well just to keep it in. Now May. Walsh with the interception, and now Whitlow. Tommy Wright's header has given possession back to Blackburn. Here's Sellers. Cowans roaming in midfield, looking for room. That was an un-Cowans-like ball, but still Blackburn have it. May. On to Newell. Good challenge by Thompson. And who'll come out of this with the ball? It's Grayson in the end. And on it goes to Wright now. He can use his pace here against the defender, May. And does so. And a useful ball. But the goalkeeper anticipated the danger well, Bobby Mims.
Yeah, I think Leicester's ploy has got to be to give the ball to Wright as much as they possibly can and let him run at the Blackburn defence. Because when he gets the ball, there's certainly a little bit of panic there.
There's been very little between these two sides. Sellers in possession for Blackburn. Price trying to sneak in behind Whitlow and just took him out really when he finally arrived there, but he's a big lad, Mike Whitlow. We're into the final quarter of an hour of the first half here, in a game that has been lacking in goal-mouth incidents so far.
I'll say that again.
Ormonroyd's header. Grayson, Ormonroyd. Nice skill by him. Thompson, good ball for Whitlow. Well, it was supposed to go on to Russell, but May intercepted. Walsh gives it away to Speedy then. Good work by David Speedy. Cowans. Newell. Again, just trying to turn away from the central defender.
Well, there's been too much of this, isn't there, really, hanging about. I mean, Roy Little's not going to be unhappy. He's not being beaten. Everything's okay at the moment.
Mills. Good work by Tommy Wright. Here's Thompson. The target was Ormonroyd. May got it clear. Grayson. Walsh chipping it forward, looking for Whitlow, but Price is in the way and looked as though he might have been nudged over by the Leicester man.
Difficult to know what a manager can suggest at a time like this. As we keep repeating ourselves, very little penetration by both forward lines.
Let's see if Newell can produce something now for Blackburn. It's a good ball. Sellers. The Atkins in the middle. James with a timely interception. It was a difficult ball for Hill to get clear. He did well, really. And Hendry and Ormonroyd clashed on the halfway line. Hendry's holding his face, but the referee has said play on. Cowans.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, if I was Kenny Dalglish, I'd be looking to do, is push Sid Cowans up another 20 yards. He's certainly playing too far back to create any problems.
Tommy Wright trying to force it through on that far side to Wicklow,
and I think if I was Brian Little, I'd be saying give the ball to Tommy Wright as much as you possibly can. But we've got an injury at the moment. I don't think it's too serious.
Colin Hendry suddenly going down and certainly causing some anxiety on the Blackburn bench. Blackburn substitutes. Well, you've already seen one of them, Roy Wegley, and Lee Richardson, a midfield player, so we won't want to lose Hendry, obviously.
Well, he's obviously come down badly on his shoulder,
yeah,
actually.
Like
there was certainly no clash of heads or anything like that. It's a shoulder injury. Which is a shame, because there was nothing in that challenge by either player. It was a genuine challenge. Just unfortunately for Colin Hendry that he fell a little bit wrongly, but he looks okay.
Pettigrew, their physio, making sure he's okay. The old Mexican wave won't go away, will it?
No, it's a lovely day and everyone's waving. I bet it goes away when they reach the royal box.
Hendry's okay. Tough Scott. Returned, remember, after a couple of years at Manchester City. And the ball back with Carl Muggleton.
Yeah, the booing is because the royal box didn't do the Mexican wave, Al.
Nor did we, to be fair.
Oh, we'll do it. It's on our way round now.
Ormonroyd's header. Sellers gets it away. Jimmy Greaves joins in the Mexican wave. Newell tries to stretch the Leicester defence and might do so. It's dangerous here for Leicester. Newell, and the shot inadvertently, I think you'd have to say, blocked by Walsh because it cracked him in the head. Oh, amazing incident. And Leicester have gone on with a counter-attack. Here's Russell. The closest we've had to a goal yet, though, that. Oh, Mills has taken that one brilliantly. Oh, unlucky. That was a great effort by Gary Mills. Just to be able to control the ball at that height and pace was remarkable enough, and he got in a dangerous shot.
That's a bit more like it. Within 30 seconds, we've had two good efforts at goal. This is Mills taking it quite brilliantly, really. Actually, after taking the ball like that, you would have expected a slightly better shot, but he did do well there. And Mike Newell here coming on to... I think this was on its way. There was no question about that. He did do well here. He took two defenders out of the game, and oof, yes, that was a good stop with the old nut by Stevie Walsh there.
Well, Mills, who's the only man who's played in every game this season for Leicester, the model pro they call him, still as fit as a teenager at the age of 30, proving it then with the best effort. Little pleased to see the intervention by Steve Walsh at one end and the athleticism of Gary Mills at the other.
It certainly did look on its way in, though, that Newell ball, if Walsh hadn't have got his head to it.
8 minutes remaining in the first half. It's still Blackburn Rovers 0, Leicester City 0. Here's Thompson for Leicester. Russell.
That little incident half a minute ago where the two teams had chances might do the game a bit of good, because it might say to the forwards that at least we can get through the defenders now if we go for them.
Russell. Ormonroyd. On to Thompson. Swept majestically out to Wicklow on the left. And Wright made the overlapping run, which has earned the corner.
nice that they can wear the chairman of Blackburn's name on their chest, isn't it, Leicester City? Get Walker's name on their chest. Unusual, that, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a good-looking corner, that. Ooh. I'm not quite sure who got the final header in there. Ormonroyd came flying in, certainly. James and Walsh were in that bunch in the middle as well. And they do, of course, possessing all these 6-foot-plus players. Well, he's about 6'5", Ormonroyd. Have a lot of threat in these situations.
Well, James got his head to the ball first and foremost, and it was flicked on. Yeah, it was Ormonroyd, yeah.
Russell. Good ball. Thompson is a very good passer of the ball, and again finds Whitlow on the left. On it goes to right. In first time, and once again a bit too deep. Bobby Mims played here in the 1986 FA Cup final for Everton against Liverpool. Good catch by him. Allen sweeps it forward. Speedy didn't even bother. He's way over his head. Russell under pressure from right. Thompson. Whitlow helping it out to Tommy Wright. Thompson again. Now Mills. Ormonroyd on the far side was the intended target. And did well then. Took it off May. That's good persistent play, and he's done really well here, Ormonroyd. It's a terrific run. The Leicester fans all screaming penalty, but I think the referee was absolutely right. But it's an indication of the old adage that you never give up until the ball's gone out. Good football from Blackburn Rovers. Excellent football. They've come from a position of danger deep inside their own half to a position of danger deep inside Leicester's. Here's Sellers. On to Wright. It's a good ball, and the goalkeeper at the second attempt holds safely on to the ball. But that was a superb piece of football by Blackburn Rovers.
It was a good minute's football. It was a great move by Blackburn out of their own defence, and an excellent cross, a great bit of goalkeeping. And just before that, we saw some good play by Ormonroyd. So it's been a minute's excellent play. Someone lying injured in the goal area there, Al.
Speedy impact.
Surprise.
He's been in the wars a bit today. He's been in the wars a bit most of his career, let's face it, one way and another.
I didn't see anything that went on there. It didn't look like it. It was a good save by the goalkeeper. It was a great move by Blackburn. There was no doubt about that. And as you rightfully said, with Ian Ormonroyd in the corner there, it was never a penalty. The referee knew that, but he did very well as well there. So the game has warmed up a bit in the last 15 minutes of the first half.
I think David Speedy might have collided with Tony James on the line as Muggleton was coming out then, but I suspect he just wanted a little cold shower and a drink.
That's right. Well, when I say the game's warmed up a bit, it's warmed up a lot. It's already warm down there, isn't it? It was a good ball forward. It was a lovely ball curled in by the fullback, and it was a good 180. Yeah, it was. It was a little incident, shall we say. Nobody seems to be that sorry for David Speedy when he gets injured, do they?
And he loves it, of course. The more people dislike him and tell him, the more fired up he is. Russell with a little flick on. Kevin Moran showing all that wonderful experience to just intercept neatly and play it up to Speedy. Speedy and Newell trying a little 1-2. It didn't come off. Steve Walsh, the Leicester captain, with a long ball for Tommy Wright. May across to cover. He won't make the same mistake he did earlier with Ormonroyd. He didn't. Only about 3 minutes of the first half remaining as Russell plays it in. Again, far too close to Bobby Mims. just slowing it down now, knowing that there's not very long to go here in the first half. And they'll be grateful for the sanctuary and the relative coolness of the Wembley dressing rooms. Here's Speedy. Can Blackburn end the first half on a high note? Newell's layoff finding Bright. Sellers. Cowans. Atkins making another fine run down the middle in the centre forward position. Cleared by Hill. Newell onto it. James strong, but Atkins was stronger still. And finally Grayson relieves the pressure on Leicester City. And then an intelligent ball by Wright onto Wicklow. That left-hand side looks the best route for success for Leicester. Here's Tommy Wright again. Thompson, been impressed with his contribution in this first half. And a good ball out to Mills. A lot of them on the far post for the cross, including Ormond Royd, who knocks it back, but he was using his arms to climb on Colin Hendry, according to the referee.
Only one arm, but he did get up there. He did get above him, but it's awkward for Ormond Royd because he's a big lad, and if you're going to go for the ball, you're going to have to put your arms above players, and I'm not altogether sure that the referee's always right on these occasions. But it's like we thought it would be, Al. It's very tight, it's very close. It's coming up to half-time. One would expect to go in goalless now, and the teams to recoup in the second half. Recoup, although they might be suffering from food.
Here's Speedy. Well, that's good work by Speedy, and it's a penalty. I cannot agree with Mr. Courtney on that. I thought he ran straight into Steve Walsh. Mr. Courtney, who was perfectly placed to see that decision, pointed instantly to the penalty spot, and I've got to say I don't agree with his verdict.
No, we're perfectly placed as well up here, Al, and there's no way that this is a penalty. It can't be.
Oh, I don't know. When you see it again, it looks worse.
No, a player can still get past. I don't think that was a penalty, genuinely. He did not bring Speedy down. Speedy dived. That's the difference.
But a penalty it is. In stoppage time, Newell takes it and has scored. Kenny Dalglish's smile lights up Wembley Stadium, and Mike Newell, in time being added for stoppages at the end of the first half, has given Blackburn Rovers the lead in controversial fashion. Nothing wrong with the penalty kick. It was the award of the penalty before it that's going to cause great debate. And what a terrible moment for Leicester City to concede that goal. I must say my first impression, as we both said, Jimmy, was that it wasn't a penalty. When you saw it again, it looked more so of one, but...
No, the defender had his arm across Speedy, but Speedy hurled himself forward. I don't genuinely think that was a penalty, I have to say.
I always think your first reactions are the best on those occasions.
That's right,
and neither of us thought it was.
A defender will always put his arm across the forward because it's a natural thing to do. It's up to the forward to run through the arm. You can't dive over the arm, and that's what Speedy effectively did. I don't think the referee, in my opinion, was correct.
I'm certain Speedy was looking for the penalty. That much I do think. Now, whether Walsh pulled him back or tried to impede him was the question that Mr. Courtney had to decide in his own mind, and instantly he decided penalty.
Well, he couldn't have pulled him back, Al, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to dive forward.
Well, we'll be looking at that one again several times, I'm sure, during the next part of our programme. And I wonder what John Sillett's view of that is.
Well, David Speedy, don't forget, is John Sillett trained. He's an ex-Coventry man. Maybe Snoz has had a word in the coaching process.
Well, we've had 2.5 minutes of time added now. And correctly given or not, it was a body blow to Leicester City because they'd done every bit as well as Blackburn Rovers in that first 45 minutes, and now find themselves psychologically at the worst possible moment, going in, I'm sure they will anyway, a goal behind. Hill turns it forward to Ormond Royd. Now Russell. He's done well, Russell. He's got Tommy Wright on the far side. Price comes in to rob him, though. The referee's forgotten about his watch here, although there have been a couple of long stoppages for injuries.
Well, it's George's last game. He'll hang it out for as long as possible.
And cries from the Leicester end about Mr. Courtney, and they're not very polite. And that's the end of the first half. Boos all round from the large Leicester contingent. Mike Newell's penalty, earned by David Speedy, separates the sides at half-time. Blackburn Rovers 1, Leicester City 0, and a game that took a good half an hour to really get going has ended in very controversial fashion, particularly as far as Leicester City are concerned. And I'm sure Gary Newborn will find someone to say something about that.
Did the decision, so it's there now. We've got to get ourselves together. I thought we were cruising through the game, and I felt quite comfortable till then. So we've got to get ourselves together, perhaps be a little bit more ambitious, try and get something out of the game.
Straight from the horse's mouth, Brian Little with his comments on that controversial incident. We'll be right back after a break. John Sillett's views on the first half of that game at Wembley in just a moment, but let's go back 24 hours to the third division playoff. It was Stockport County against Peterborough United yesterday, who would join the boys in the second division. Jerry Harrison commentates.
Challery on the near post, up goes Challery. Oh, it's in! The linesman's flag goes, it's gone over the line! It's a goal! Ken Challery! Challery on the line, looks as if it's in before it's whacked away, but the linesman's flag went up. What a challenge there by Williams. Again, he leaves his feet hanging. Wheeler brings it down. Here's a chance now for Priest. Oh, it's there! Francis! And it's in the back of the net with 3 minutes left. But can Peterborough pull one back here as Challery breaks forward? He's in with a chance, he's into the area. He's got it! Ken Challery! 89 minutes. That must be the winner.
Jerry was right, it was in the 89th minute. Well, the men in black were under the microscope for that first goal. What about that penalty right at the end of the first half of the game we're watching this afternoon with John Sillett between Blackburn and Leicester? We'll look at that in half a second. John, your immediate reaction was no penalty.
No penalty. No way. I was amazed at David, really, because David was going on the outside, and I felt he should have gone on, and he checks back, and then he nutmegs poor Walsh. And all Walsh has done is turned across him with his arm out, and Davis took a dive, I'm sorry to say. But no way is that a penalty, Bob.
Yeah.
No way.
It's sad to think that that's the only goal at the moment, because Newell duly converted the penalty, and I say controversy surrounded it.
Yes, he's the coolest man on the park, Newell. You know, amazing penalty. So they look so easy to everybody watching, but I promise you now, with that atmosphere, that heat, and the way the game had gone, he had a difficult job there to stand up and keep cool and take that penalty as he did. And an excellent job done.
Well, we watched for 35 minutes without much incident, and then Newell, who you just mentioned, had the first real opportunity. And credit to Walsh, who blocked so well. James looked as though he was carrying his leg here, didn't he, a little?
Hey, James went up for a set piece, and we noticed he was limping, and he made a mistake there. But Walsh came inside, got it on his right foot, and it's a good strike. And I think I think Walsh blocked it. I thought that was a certain goal if Walsh hadn't got in the way.
Well, Leicester came straight back, and then it was Mills who went close, and we were out of our seats again, weren't we?
Good control. Very good control from Mills. Came inside on his wrong foot, possibly, and you would hope he'd bend one into the far corner, but he pulls it just wide. He just panics a little bit, sees the defender coming across. But that was two moves within a minute.
But they'd all been a bit tense and shadow boxing before that, hadn't they?
Yes, yeah. You know, the move of the match possibly started in the right-hand corner for Blackburn, and they played it through, and then a great cross where Speedy got injured. You know, I thought that was the move of the match up to now.
John, we'll talk some more in just a moment. We've got to take another break. We'll be back after it.
City, that they get something in the first 15 minutes of this half, otherwise the game could be drifting away from them. And Jimmy, do you think any thoughts on Brian Little's part of changing his system of three centre-backs, or will he leave it a bit longer?
No, I think what John said back in the studio has got to happen. He's got to make changes now. He's got to go for Blackburn. It's no good being one down with 45 minutes to go. You've got to try everything in the book. So I'm all for change.
Well, they're certainly forceful at the moment, with Grayson finding Thompson. And that's a good ball. Unfortunately, Mills played it in behind Grayson. Now Cowans for Blackburn. David May. Newell was trying to make a run then across the Leicester back four and ran straight into Colin Hill.
Getting back to the penalty incident, I'd just like to place on record that we are in the minority here by virtue of the fact there are more Granada personnel on the gantry who obviously said that it was a penalty than Central people who said it wasn't.
Well, I've no doubt up and down the region everybody's having their own two penn'orth worth about that. Well, let's hope it's not the only goal of the game, because it would be a tragedy if that proved to be the winner. Here's Hill. Looking for Russell and finding him with a good-looking ball. And again, Bobby Mims, who's had a sound enough game today, came out and made a good interception. Blackburn break. Newell in possession. And he's done well here. He's got round James. He's got Atkins making a good run in the middle. Walsh is there to intercept. And finally plays it away.
Now the crowd are booing, but George Courtney was right to wave play on. This was not an head injury. It's a straight injury to the buttock. And
Tommy Wright down injured, yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Wright's down injured. It's a buttock injury.
It's very polite of you, Jim.
Well, what, do you want the real version now? I mean, we'll give it. And the crowd were booing somewhat, but because the referee didn't blow up. But it was fair enough. Referee's only got to worry about one thing: was it an head injury or is it very serious? And that wasn't, and the referee was quite right. And unless Tommy carries his brains where one or two people might be suggesting, he's not suffering from concussion.
Leicester keeping the substitutes ready should they have been needed. David Oldfield and Phil G. Newell has had a very good game. Took that penalty so calmly as well, didn't he? Finds Sellers. Looking for Speedy in behind the defender, but the defender Gary Mills knew that that was going for the goal kick.
Yes, I agree with you, Alan. I've never been certain about Mike Newell, but I think he's been the pick of the forwards this afternoon, and certainly under a great deal of pressure he struck the penalty really well, brilliantly.
The header down to Thompson. It wasn't a bad effort, but in fairness it was never really going to find the net.
No, I think this has been Leicester's problem. They've had 2 or 3 good shots at goal, but they've all been from around the 20-25 yard mark, and here is another example of it. And you don't score many goals from here. You can't expect to score goals from there. You've got to get in the box.
Good work from Gary Mills. At his usual excellent, consistent game so far. Tony James. Russell. Taken off him by Sellers. Thompson literally dives in to win it back. James knocking it forward. Grayson chasing, and Kevin Moran concedes the throw. Tony James' first opportunity in this game to send one of those howitzers in. A long, long way from the penalty area, but he's going to try it anyway. It wasn't a bad one, and it's earned a corner. Just shows you the value of having somebody who can hurl the ball that far. And from nothing, a throw in halfway inside the opposition half. They've got a corner. In the end, I think it was Newell who got the final touch.
Well, you can't believe that.
Could have gone off anyone.
Oh,
Either side then could have
that was
converted.
desperate. The ball comes in here, and you can see. Well, it was cleared off the line.
Cleared off the line by Wright after Newell had got an
Wright,
inadvertent touch onto it. That was a strange incident indeed.
Well, it's going Blackburn's way at the moment.
And Speedy's winning these corners, floated into the near post, and was always going to go up for that one, wasn't he, without any fear. But it's another throw-in to Leicester City. Grayson. Mills. That was a waste, really, by Gary Mills. Shame for Leicester, because they had a good little spell there, penning Blackburn in, and that's an excellent ball for Sellers, and he's onside here, and Muggleton has done splendidly. Wonderful work by the young goalkeeper.
Yeah, he did well there. I don't normally like keepers coming out like that, but he knew what he was doing.
Well, at least he looked for Roax, rather unlike Bruce Grobbelaar, who tries to dribble it and get it on his head and knock it up the line in that situation. Middleton did the right thing. Here's Cowans. Price. Speedy tries to get it back to Price and does so. Knocked in, rather hopeful ball, which Newell goes for on that far post. Hill with a kind of half clearance to Sellers. No free kick given. Thompson brings it clear and finds Russell. This is what Leicester need, to run at Blackburn more often. Ormondroyd. Better stuff this. Mills in possession. In towards Hill, who noticeably keeps getting forward now from his nominal centre-half role.
Well, they've got to push somebody else forward, and if it's Hill, it's Hill. But they've got to get Blackburn back on the heels. They've got to get them under pressure. They've got to create a couple of chances. Leicester.
Whitlow. And here comes the ball straight to May. Cowans. Moran. This is James for Leicester. He won't take any risks. He'll allow Muggleton to deliver the long ball. The only Leicester-born player in the side today, Muggleton, not James, that is. Henry's clearance. Hill cracked it out to this left-hand side for Wright to chase, and that's a foul. And a very foolish one as well by May. I really cannot understand what David May was thinking of then, because he was going to take Tommy Wright all his time just to get that ball under control. He was out by the corner flag and couldn't have done much with it.
Right, Al. Silly foul to give away.
Low lifts it in, Mims stretches and can't get there. It's driven back through the crowd, off the line again. Oh dear. They're riding their luck here, Blackburn. Henry this time denies Leicester City.
It certainly looks as though it's going to be Blackburn's day. The keeper comes for it. He's never really got a chance of getting it. And it's driven back in, a deflection, and oh yes, it's
James, the last Leicester man to get a touch on it. Thompson. Mills. Ormondroyd couldn't reach it. James is in there again. And Wright finally gets it clear. Good period, though, for Leicester City. They're best in the game, without doubt. 10 minutes gone in the second half. There's still a goal behind. Grayson. Russell. Charged down by Kevin Moran. Blackburn can't get out of their half at the moment. In it goes, too long though. And Blackburn temporarily, Jimmy, on the rocks.
Yeah, things are going Blackburn's way. You need a little bit of luck, obviously, in the game, and they've certainly had it. They've had 2 clearances off the line. You can't put that down to luck, because the players have got to be there, well positioned, to clear the ball, and that they've done. But it could have easily so gone the other way, and Leicester really have got to say that things are not going their way at the moment.
Foul given, and again May, troubled by Tommy Wright, has fouled him and may well be cautioned. He's certainly going to get a telling off for the foul on Wright. Mr. Courtney contents himself with laying the law down to the 21-year-old.
Oh, that's fair enough. You don't want to see a player booked. It's just that he did one a couple of minutes ago. That was his problem.
Whitlow's free kick. James is on the far post, so is Ormond Royd, who wins it. And again, Blackburn rather uneasily get it clear. Tommy Wright. Could have been a dangerous cross. Might still turn out to be. Thompson. It breaks to Whitlow. And now Wright again. Done well to make the cross. Moran got it away. It's all Leicester at the moment. Gary Mills, they're queuing up for the cross. Moran gets it clear. Hill. Back out again to Mills on the right. Hill lets it through to Ormond Royd. Walsh was poised for the shot, but it never reached him. Good work then at the other end. And still Leicester press forward. Good challenge by Walsh. Excellent tackle. Here's Tommy Wright. You feel that Leicester are getting back into this game with a vengeance now, but can they get the goal? They've got a corner. No, they haven't. The referee has decided that it came off the Leicester man. Brian Little can't believe it.
Yeah, I think again it was the right decision by the referee. I'm not making up to the referee for criticising for the penalty incident, but it definitely did come off all right. But Leicester are back in the game and they've got to keep pressing. They've got to keep playing this way. They don't know any other way to play, so they've got to keep pressurising Blackburn all the time, hoping for a mistake.
Blackburn Rovers 1, Leicester City 0 in this playoff for a place in the Premier League next season. Right for Blackburn. James intercepts, but then Newell takes it off him, but the linesman is flat. Leicester's free kick.
Yeah, I mean, if the game's proved anything so far, it's that Blackburn look a lot more comfortable coming forward. They don't look so good under pressure, and that's what Leicester have got to do.
Here's Russell, now Hill for Leicester. On to Ormond Royd. Hill again. Now Whitlow. Breaks to Hill. That wasn't a bad effort. He really caught that and got caught himself in the challenge. In fact, Leicester have got a corner out of this.
Oh, can't work that one out, but two players are injured. See, the ball comes in here and it's not really played back, it just comes back accidentally, and there you see the clash, the shot, an accidental clash. It gives the players a bit of time, those players that need a drink, and there's quite a few of them out there at the moment that do.
Yes, we can't exaggerate how hot and humid it is here today. Real South American conditions as far as playing football is concerned. Colin Hill went in with a wholehearted challenge then. He's only lost 3 times in the 12 matches he's been playing for Leicester since he joined them on loan from Sheffield United. Blackburn, of course, with an injury themselves, have got their substitutes ready. Wegerle nearest to the camera, and Richardson with the long hair in the background. Atkins still receiving treatment for them.
It's just an awkward clash, and seems odd to see subs warming up in this weather, doesn't it? I would think they'd want a nice cold pack on the back of their neck to
cool down.
Realise that, yeah. And to realise the shocker that they might have to go on.
And remember, we do face the possibility of half an hour of extra time if it were needed. And Hill has got very groggily back to his feet with half an hour of normal time to go. And Hill out of the picture, just limped back into the penalty area for the corner, which James does well to win. Whitlow going up there, and again, as Wright flashed a boot at the ball, Blackburn just had enough bodies in the way. It was as simple as that. Here's Mills. And there's a break on here. It's 3 against 1. Incredible. Speedy. He's gone all the way, and that's going to be a real problem for the referee to sort out what to do here. Gary Mills came across. There was no doubt that he knew exactly what he was doing.
I don't think he'll go.
Leicester will be praying he doesn't, but no. Under the interpretation of the laws of the game that we've had in force this season, he could go here, Gary Mills. The referee would be within his rights to send him off. I've no doubt about that.
No, I think that's a reasonable decision. Again, I mean, Speedy, really, he's entitled to get walloped here. He's held on to the ball. He's got 2 players 20 yards to his left. And if he released the ball, he releases both of them. He's gone on rather selfishly and tried to beat the man and got tackled out of it. All he had to do, really, was release the ball a little bit quicker than... Well, he didn't release the ball. That was the problem.
Free kick is all Leicester face in the end when a goal seemed likely. Blackburn had 3 players against Leicester's 1 in that attack. Sellers. Carl Muggleton has not missed a trick today. And a good early throw out. Incidentally, we've just been given the crowd just over 68,000 here today. As Tommy Wright lifts it on to Russell, down for Whitlow to chase. Good work by Wright. Well, you can see why he's so highly thought of, Alan Wright. What an excellent little fullback.
$68,000 in the sunshine, plus us who've jibbed him.
So still Blackburn Rovers lead by 1-0 here against Leicester City. And Leicester's desire to get that equalising goal made them commit so many players forward. They were almost punished for it on the break. Confirmation of the crowd. Cowans accurately back to Bobby Mims. Blackburn will want to slow it down again a little bit because they've taken a bit of a pounding in the early stages of the second half here. Newell took a pounding then. Russell has the ball back for Leicester.
Oh, you're right, they will want to slow it down. They haven't ridden their luck because they haven't been really lucky. It's just that the ball has gone for them, and the more they take, the more you get the feeling that sooner or later the ball will have to run for Leicester. So they'll want to slow it down. They want to keep control. That man knows how to play the game, obviously. And he'll hope that his 11 players do.
The ball had gone out of play there. I think for a moment Sellers thought he'd got away with that against Gary Mills. The referee seems to have given the free kick for a foul by Sellers. Henry's header clear. Hill is there for Leicester. Right. Sellers. Speedy not interested in pursuing that one. So plenty of time for Steve Walsh. Easy for Kevin Moran at the other end. Leicester can't afford to do that too often. Very difficult to chase the ball and get it back in this heat when you're giving it away so carelessly as that. But Moran with a better looking long ball for Speedy. Posting in the shot.
That was a superb ball by Kevin Moran.
Oh, James has given it straight to Cowans. And they might be punished for that. Sellers goes forward, tried the little chip. Fortunately for Leicester, not accurately.
He's a good player, Sellers, but he's one of those players who'd drive you mad, wouldn't he? The things that he does. He does some great things and then really messes the situation up. He's taken the ball on here, he's beaten defenders, and then look at that. Oh, that is heart attack job for the manager, that is.
Orman Roy getting a little touch on there, right in bravely as Russell tried to get his foot to the ball. Some talk down on the touchline, I gather, from the Leicester bench that Colin Hill may be coming off for Leicester, either as a result of the knock he got earlier or for tactical reasons. We're not sure which. It's either him or James, I gather, who will be asked to make way for one of the Leicester subs as Tommy Wright wins the free kick.
It doesn't look as though Colin Hill is moving 100%. It could well be him. He does seem to be labouring a little bit.
Well, it'll be a great moment this, midway through this second half, for Leicester to draw level, and they've deserved it with their display so far in the second half. Whitlow's free kick. James went up, but really got in his own player's way then, Norman Royd, and there's another break on here. Atkins for Blackburn. Leicester have got rather more men back, I'm glad to say, this time. Sellers. Good goalkeeping again by Muggleton. I would not fault a thing he's done today. First choice last season, lost his place this season as Phil G and I think David Oldfield get ready to come on. Certainly going to use G at the moment. Oldfield may have to wait a little longer as Russell turns it on for Orman Royd to chase Kevin Moore and safe as houses.
No, Leicester have played well. There's no obvious player to go off. Nobody's having a bad game. They're all playing very well.
Well, here's the opportunity anyway to make the substitution now. And it looks like James is the player who'll come off. Yes, Tony James, who really, let's be honest, it's a bonus for him to be here today. They didn't think he was going to play again this season after that badly broken right leg back at Wolves in October. And Phil G, who was left out for the Cambridge playoff matches for the first time since his transfer from Derby, is back on the field now. Orman Royd's header on towards Russell, and here's G getting an instant touch. Came a bit too quickly for him, I think.
Yeah, you need to be in the game a few minutes before you get something of a chance, really.
I'll make it 23 minutes gone now in the second half. Blackburn Rovers 1, Leicester City 0 still. Grayson for Leicester. Oh, that's good football. Thompson. Russell. He's done well here, Kevin Russell. Very well. Mills seems to have dropped into the middle of midfield now and had his shirt tugged off him, almost, by Atkins.
Well, it's a silly bookable offence, and he's going to get booked for that. There's no question about that. If you're going to do that, you can't do it 2 feet away from the referee.
Looks as though what Leicester have done, incidentally, Jimmy, now, looking at the way they're lining up at the moment, is they've pushed Grayson into the right-back role, and Mills has gone into the centre of midfield, and presumably that means that the centre of their defence anyway will not be quite so crowded as it has been in this game with the big 3 centre-backs. James is off, of course. Mills chipped it in towards Orman Royd. Here's Tommy Wright. Hit it across the line, and it's a goal kick.
Well, it doesn't have to be now. They're 1 down. They've got to go for it. There's 20 minutes left. You really have got nothing to lose now. And yet, at the same time, everything to lose.
Well, certainly on the balance of play so far, Leicester do deserve the opportunity at least to take this match into extra time, because there's been very little between the sides right from the off. Blackburn have cleared the ball twice off their own goal line in this second half, and Leicester, putting all regional bias to one side, do deserve an equalising goal on their second half performance.
Well, including regional bias, they still deserve a goal on their performance. They don't deserve to be 1 down. There's no doubt about that.
Here's Speedy. Cowans didn't realise that G was flying in behind him, but reacted well. Still anxious moments for the Leicester bench then, as the clock ticks on. 20 minutes to go. They're a goal behind. Atkins. Right. Atkins again for Blackburn. Finds Speedy. Sellers. offside, isn't it? Yes. Newell's penalty still separating the teams then. G touches it on for Ormond Royd, who got in between the two central defenders and wins the throw-in as Hendry hammers it over the line. No Tony James, of course, now to hurl the long throws in. But the man who substituted him, G, gets a lot of distance himself. Thompson. Grayson. No, not really. Simon Grayson has never actually scored a goal, either for Leicester or for his previous club Leeds.
Well, he's not likely to score one with that sort of effort. You see, again, it's a problem that Leicester have been facing the whole of the game. It was another shot. It had to be a really good shot to be on target from the distance it was struck. It was a feeble effort. No danger to Blackburn. The danger is when Leicester get into Blackburn's box.
And let's hope they do now with Mills, and that's a bad tackle by Hendry. Well, that's every bit as bad as the one that Mills himself made at the other end to stop Speedy.
Oh, it's a yellow card job. Again, you can't send a player off for that. There was still a bit for Mills to do, in my book, for the referee to say that the player was clear through and deserves a red card. I'm sure it'll be a yellow one. Now, fair's fair. There was a lot for Mills to do in this. In actual fact, it was doubtful whether he would have got the ball anyway.
Mills receives treatment, and Brian Little won't want to see this model professional, as he calls him, coming off.
No, he'll be all right. I mean, football's about tackling people. It's a physical game. Players are going to get hurt. They're going to get injured. It's always been that way. I mean, look when you tackled me that time, Alan.
That was about the money you owed me, though, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I paid you. That's what hurt me.
Well, Kenny Dalglish has been here so often, as we were saying before the match, as a player and a manager, and indeed in both roles on occasions. Usually successfully so, of course, in his Liverpool days. Is he about to lead his new team Blackburn to success? Well, there's still plenty left in this game yet. Plenty left for Leicester. As Thompson curls it in towards Walsh. Oh dear, that was close. And the captain just got the merest of touches and just glided it over the bar. What a shame.
Yeah, that was a good effort, that, by Walsh, because the ball, he got his head to it, and in this situation, that's all you have to do. It could have gone anywhere. Again, unfortunately, over the bar, but it's one of those that you just want to get your head to. He did the right thing, unfortunately, just over.
And at the other end, and he's already got back there, he wins the free kick. And there was no more committed player than Steve Walsh, and he's played a captain's innings today, that's for sure. Here's Thompson. And it goes towards Walsh again, would you believe? Oh dear, what a shame, as G came flying in there. It was another strange incident with the ball ricocheting around the box. Bobby Mims trying to look cool, but I don't think he would have been then, because he couldn't have expected G to appear as he did.
Oh, again, the ball. Now, this is where they're putting Blackburn under pressure all the time, and I'm not quite sure why G went down to head that, why he didn't let it drop another foot and go in with his boot.
Now, how's the ref going to sort that one out? He's going to give a foul against Leicester City.
There's no doubt about it. From a Leicester point of view, they've got to get the ball in that box, which they've been doing quite a lot of, and when they've been doing it, they've been creating problems. And there you saw a perfect example of the ball dropping loose and again not being fully taken, the chance not being fully taken.
15 minutes to go. Blackburn lead Leicester City by 1-0. A place in the Premier League is the prize, remember. G goes in bravely with Sellers. Grayson knocking it forward. A bad ball, though, straight to right. Now Atkins. And onside again here as Newell chips the goalkeeper, and Muggleton has done brilliantly again and even prevents it going behind Brook. No, he hasn't. The linesman has set corner. Now, I don't see how the linesman could have seen from that far away.
No, he couldn't have seen that in a month of Sundays, the linesman. Lord knows what the linesman's flagging for here. I mean, he's running up with the game at the moment, the linesman. We've got to take it that he wasn't there. How can he...
And it looked in anyway.
It was in, and our linesman can give that decision. How the referee can take any notice of it.
Absolutely. Muggleton deserved the benefit of the doubt there as well. Whitlow gets it clear, fortunately, on the near post, but the point is it shouldn't have even been a corner.
No, and it buys Blackburn time. This is the key to it. They're under pressure. They look to be wiltering a little bit, and the longer they can slow it down and keep the ball out of play, the better it is for them.
Slow it down is what they're doing. Callens, Speedy. Well, that's a good ball. Price gets in. Danger here. And he did the wrong thing completely there, Price, to the great relief of Leicester City, who break with Tommy Wright. Oh, over Thompson's head, that was a shame. Sellers playing it on. Newell is offside. Well, the linesman who was the curse of Leicester City a moment ago is their friend now.
I have to say, I wasn't sure about that one. But that was a good ball from Speedy a minute ago, and really Price should have done better with the cross. So Leicester breathe again.
It's still only 1-0 here, the slenderest of threads. And Tommy Wright tries to get in behind the defender, and the whistle has gone. Wright adjudged to a foul, Price. Free kick to Blackburn.
Fair enough there.
Well, it seems so cruel that an entire season of matches could hinge on just one game here today.
And you can see Wright did foul there.
Speedy. Turned forward by May. And suddenly onside again is Atkins. And he tried the shot when he had a player, Sellers, free on the left. They've thrown away so many opportunities to wrap this game up, Blackburn, with Leicester committing themselves to all-out attack. And here goes Russell. Good ball for Tommy Wright. Not a very good shot, and then Thompson couldn't control it, and Sellers breaks clear again to Speedy. Always the chance here on the break, and Speedy was looking for a free kick there, and that's disgraceful on Speedy's part, absolutely disgraceful. Grayson merely went over and said to him, I'm sure, look, pal, you don't need to be trying to con the referee all the time.
But
and Speedy overreacted.
That's not the point. Speedy still did 1 3/4 pike somersault.
Exactly.
Good Lord. I would tell Speedy that this is a game of physical football. It's always been that way. People are entitled to hit you, sometimes accidentally, sometimes on purpose. But if he keeps reacting like that, really, it was a disgrace. I'd have sent him off. I would have actually sent him off.
I don't disagree with you at all on that. I think Speedy...
Because this has been a good, honest game of football, and that, to me, was a disgrace, what Speedy did.
Well, they've got a free kick out of it. Cowens has driven it in to the very same player. No foul. Well, emotionally, you feel you really want Leicester to do something here now. Thompson with a great ball. What a wonderful ball. G. And it goes towards Russell and Ormonroyd, and Russell, oh, cleared away off the line again by Hendry. What an unlucky day Leicester City are having here. Here goes Sellers for Blackburn. Some weary legs now all around this field. 10 minutes to go. Blackburn 1, Leicester 0 still. Corner.
Another bit of bad luck for Leicester. They certainly deserve a goal. They've had to push forward. OK, that's fair enough. Blackburn are going to have chances, but certainly in pushing forward, having the courage to do that, Leicester certainly deserve to be on equal terms here.
Brian Little on his feet now, and that horrible sight for teams who are losing at Wembley when all the stewards leave their positions and start marching around the perimeter. You know the clock's against you when you see that. Here's Sellers. But there's still time for Leicester to rescue it here. Here's G. One lucky break, and how they deserve it would be enough. Offside meantime. Again, Speedy will do something silly here, I've no doubt. Probably thought about it. Walsh. Russell. Good ball with the outside of the foot to Ormonroyd, who has done well to find G. Now, it's got to be a good cross here. It wasn't that good. We can try again. Goes off May. Great shout of handball from the Leicester fans. Play on, says Mr. Courtney. Whitlow turns it back in. An unlucky one. It goes straight to Cowans and comes back to him again. And still the danger on the break here. Atkins to Speedy. Clumsy ball by Speedy, and then he was allowed to reach it. Newell's done well, and Walsh, good defending. Well, Newell not too happy as Leicester press on. Ormonroyd, oh dear. Well, he did well to get it back again. Mills finding G, lost it for a moment. Leicester have got to keep the ball in this half here. There's a chance for them if they can. Whitlow swings it in towards Ormonroyd, a free header. He took his time. Newell. Always looks dangerous when Blackburn break like this. Here's Price. Bad ball.
Well, it's going to always look dangerous for Leicester because Blackburn, we know, will be able to hit them on the break. But Leicester have got to keep getting this ball in the Blackburn box because you just get a feeling that it could drop their way. It hasn't done so far, but it just might.
They deserve that break, as I said before. Can Russell provide it now? He's done well here, Russell. Oh, what a shame. It just went too far ahead of him. The frustration mounts for Leicester, who were fourth, remember, at the end of the league season. Brian Little's team missing automatic promotion by just 4 points. Ipswich and Middlesbrough going into the Premier League. Blackburn finished 6th, 2 places and 3 points below Blackburn. Bit of the old Wembley cramp, I think, for Rooster Russell at the moment. And the physio, Mike Geeson's having to make a long journey round the outside of the pitch to treat him. Well, we're all willing Leicester on here. 7 minutes remaining. There's still a goal behind. Right for Blackburn. Russell still off the pitch. Leicester still temporarily down to 10 men. Sellers, not a good ball. Cowan's made it into one though. Now I think Sellers has got a touch of cramp or some kind of injury. As G does well to win it back from Pricely. He was then fouled, but the referee has rightly said play on with Mills in possession. Typically brave challenge by Kevin Moran. Price, Atkins. Sellers can hardly move out on Blackburn's left. No good playing it to him. Newell takes over instead and slides it forward for Atkins. He's given another penalty. Muggleton can't believe it. And for the second time in the game, everything explodes in Leicester's face.
I'll go to our house.
Here it is again.
It was a great ball played in by Newell. And the keeper's come for it. Well, what do you say?
Well, referees always tend to give them. And again, I wasn't sure. Mr. Courtney was right. Lee Richardson has come on for, not sure for who, presumably Sellers, as Newell prepares to take the spot kick that could clinch it for Blackburn, and he saved it! Oh, well done, Carl Muggleton. And justice is done.
Yes, I think justice was done there as well.
Justice is done, and if Leicester go on to get an equaliser out of that, then someone up there has rightly been smiling on them. 5 minutes to go. Now, can they take inspiration from that, Leicester? A marvellous save by Muggleton. G lifting it on. Here's Russell trying to get in, and he goes down. No penalty this time.
No, that was never a penalty either. Come on, Rooster, you're not going to get away with that.
Here goes Richardson running at defenders, and he's got the legs, having just come on. Speedy's in a good position. He slips over. Thank goodness. Leicester can still do it. They can still force those tired legs forward to snatch an equalising goal. They've got to keep believing. They've got to keep hoping. And they've got to keep playing. Tommy Wright. Oh, what a shame. Moran didn't see the substitute. Oh, my word!
He was offside. The linesman had given G offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted.
Well, Carl Muggleton, the Leicester boy who spent a fortune on tickets for his family and friends this week, had a moment to celebrate here with that fine save from Newell's penalty, which has kept Leicester's hopes alive.
Yes, the ball certainly hasn't run for Leicester, there's no doubt about that. It's been Blackburn's fortunate day today, up until this time anyway.
Newell is getting in behind the defenders again here, though. And he's done well here, Newell. Turns it back to Speedy, and Atkins, and another great save by Carl Muggleton. Oh, well done, son. That was the message.
It was a great save, but if I was Atkins, I would be not a very happy man, because this I put down as a miss more than a save. Look at that, he's got the whole goal. Oh, dear. I would be chewing Wembley turf by now if that had been me.
It was indeed a bad miss, but well done Muggleton for not giving up on the cause. He, alone in the last few minutes, has kept Leicester alive here. Blackburn have got another corner as Walsh heads it behind. 2.5 minutes to go on my watch.
Well, I suppose the only consolation Leicester have got is that they'll still have Gary Newbon to interview them next year.
Fans from Blackburn all wanting to hear the final whistle, but it's a couple of minutes away yet, at least, and a bit of time to be added. Come on, Leicester, one last time. Thompson, Grayson, the referee's given a free kick. He should have played on. He's brought Leicester back when he should have played on there, George Courtney.
That's a bad decision. Well, old George must be a bit tired out there, with due respect. It's a very hot day. The referee's always going to make one or two mistakes.
Grayson, they've got to get the ball in the box now, Leicester. Pure and simple. Ormonroyd going up, and it breaks. Oh, it's another near miss for Tommy Wright. Oh, dear, dear, is it going to be one of those days?
That just could have been the last opportunity Leicester get as well, and actually it was a good opportunity, because really, as you see the ball come down here, Wright's got a little bit more time than he thinks, and he could have possibly let it drop just another 6 inches, and that would have kept it lower.
On the official clock now, there is 1 minute to go. 1 minute separating Blackburn Rovers from a place in the Premier League next season. 1 minute for Leicester City to snatch something here from the jaws of defeat. And here goes Richardson for Blackburn. The shot cannoning the way to Price, who lifts it on to Atkins, who's offside. They've got to get the ball back here quickly now, Leicester, and just deliver it into the Blackburn half. There's only half a minute of normal time remaining, and no more than a minute, 2 minutes at the absolute maximum, I would think, that Mr. Courtney will add. Muggleton tries to find Ormonroyd, right and right, one from each side going in. It's the Blackburn man who gets it clear. It's still in play. Grayson, back to Thompson. He never stops trying to play football, Thompson.
Get it in.
Walsh. G with a little touch on. Back it comes to him again. Is this to be Leicester's last attack of the game, I wonder? They've got a throw-in out of it. We've now reached 90 minutes here at Wembley. We're moving into time being added for stoppages. Blackburn are still leading Leicester by 1-0 as G hurls it in. It's touched on and away again then by Richardson. Back in it goes from Whitlow. and still they press, but the referee has given a free kick to Blackburn Rovers.
Well, just briefly in summing up, one has to say, well played, Leicester City.
Kenny Dalglish wonders now if his dreamed-of place back amongst the elite of football is clinched as Speedy goes forward, trying to clinch it. Well, it wasn't a bad effort. The referee, Mr. Courtney, has looked at his watch. I make it 46 minutes now. So we're a minute into stoppage time as Leicester hurl the ball forward once more. And it's through to Ormonroyd. He's offside, it won't count. The linesman has flagged. Well, you can feel the impending disappointment now for Leicester City.
Yeah, I think that's it for Leicester. It's been a great effort, but they'll have to wait till next season now.
Nothing went right on the day for Leicester. Any luck that was going in this game was going Blackburn's way. A controversial penalty, 2 controversial penalties you could argue, 3 clearances off the line I can remember from Blackburn defenders in this half. Shots that went close, shots that hit bodies, and in the end, although everybody thinks that's the final whistle, it isn't. In the end, Leicester just need one last little bit of luck. Perhaps this is it, as it's delivered into the box, surely for the very last time. The captain Walsh is there. Richardson touches it away. It's a throw-in. 47 minutes now on my watch. We're over 2 minutes into stoppage time. This throw-in could be the last chance as Ormonroyd turns it the wrong way. Away by Newell. Thompson straight back in again. Cleared again by Moran. The referee's had another look at the watch. This is Mills. Straight back in from Grayson, but it's too late. The final whistle has gone. Blackburn Rovers celebrate. They will be in the FA Premier League next season. And poor Leicester City will have to stay in the newly reconstructed Football League for all their marvellous efforts. Mike Newell's penalty proved to be enough. The Leicester players have sunk to the turf in dejection.
Well, it was a great effort by Leicester. They just didn't really have the ball run for them on the day. It could have gone either way at any time. I still debate the penalty. I don't believe it was a penalty. I think Speedy definitely threw himself on the ground. Whether or not the player's hand was across him at the time is one of debate. I think probably the referee will get away with it on the basis that the Leicester player, I believe it was Walsh, did have his hand across Speedy, but I didn't think it was a genuine penalty. Having said that, really, I suppose, looking at Leicester's performance, they didn't really penetrate enough. They left a lot of getting into the box and looking towards the ball's chance drop-ins and picking up the prize, which unfortunately they didn't. It didn't quite run right for them. It wasn't quite their day. But well played,
you know,
Leicester City.
Chances came and went. We took our chance. We may have had a couple more. They may have had a couple.
What about the David Speedy penalty? Brian Little said it was a dive.
The referee seen it as a penalty. He gave it as a penalty.
Will this side do well in the Premier League next season?
Well, we're there. We'll find out next year. I'm off.
Leicester City then must face another 9-month battle to get back where they think they belong, where I'm sure they do belong. It's a First Division club, or a Premier League club if you like, in the making, Leicester City. No doubt about that. Blackburn Rovers spent heavily to win that place in the end, and there's nothing wrong with money if you've got it. But
yeah, but we haven't got it, Al. That's what's wrong.
I feel sorry for this boy.
Yeah, he's played well. He's had a great game.
Congratulations. I've got to ask you, you viewed the David Speedy penalty. Brian Little said it was a dive. What did you think?
Can't hear you, Rod.
Brian Little said David Speedy dived for the penalty. What was your view?
Well, that's Brian Little's opinion. Steve Walsh spoke to me again in the tunnel and asked me if he thought it was a penalty. And I said, well, you know better than anybody. He said, well, I did touch him. So that's good enough for me. The referee gave us a penalty kick. They may have 2 goal line clearances in the second half. They may have got a couple, another one. But at the end of the day, we've won the match, and that's what matters. That's the most important thing.
I think you proved a few people wrong again.
I have nothing to prove to anybody.
What's going to happen now? A summer spree or just a few rounds of golf?
It's going to be a hell of a party getting up the M6 anyway.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
So, the successful manager, Kenny Dalglish, will now watch his players climb those famous steps to receive the trophy, which I always find rather curious that the team finishing third should win a trophy. But it's been a sad, sad day for Leicester. And manager Brian Little is now talking with Gary Newbomb.
Brian, you have to say, very bad luck to Leicester City this afternoon.
Yeah, it's another experience for us all. I mean, take a little bit of time to get over it, but you know, we're strong enough to do well again next season. As I've said, we need a little breather now, but it is disappointing because I think we gave it everything we got. Till they scored, I felt we were comfortably doing the game, and obviously from then we've chased the game and created, I think, probably for the supporters, a good spectacle. There was end-to-end stuff at the end, but obviously we're very disappointed.
Okay, all decided by...
Was it all a question of luck or lack
They must
of?
have killed a robin, Leicester. They were so unlucky. I thought they were brilliant. John Gregory, Brian Little's done a superb job. Just haven't had the luck on the day.
John, thanks very much for being with us. Well, here endeth the domestic football season. Not the result we wanted, but there we are. I hope you've enjoyed it. From us all, bye-bye.
Stone's Best Bitter, proud to be associated with Central Sports Special.